Welcome to the podcast. Episode 142, When the Kids Go to Sleep, right here in the studio with Shay and Colette. Let's not waste any time. Get to the intro.
When the kids are counting sheep, when the kids go to sleep, dreams and memories. When the kids go to sleep.
The very last podcast we had, what did we talk about?
I don't burp on the podcast. Or I haven't yet.
I guess I'm just a little bit freer spirit than you.
I guess
I'm just a little bit more honest, you know? I'm just who I am.
Shut up.
I can't help it just to be blatantly me, you know?
Or
rude.
Or gross.
It's just who I am.
It's just who I am.
So that's a good question. Let's get right into something controversial.
Yay, I love controversy.
That's just how I am.
You call it controversy or versy?
I had some pistachios.
Controversy.
Okay, welcome to the podcast. We're not trying to be controversial. We just want to be entertaining and educational and hopefully change the entire world forever.
Yes.
That's all we're trying to do.
And we're on the road to presidency. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys heard, but I did announce my future run for the office of president. Pretty exciting. After Kanye's
Pretty
2
exciting.
terms. Kanye has 2 terms.
Pretty much.
And in because he's running in 2020 and announced on the VMAs. And he'll have 2 terms. So in 2028, he'll be done. And it'll be a great time for me to come in.
Yep.
I'm excited. So we're going to start raising money. No, we're not.
Oh, wow, he's unbuttoning the shirt sleeves,
Listen,
guys.
There needs to be
Things
a lot.
are getting real.
A lot needs to be done to fix this country, and I'm just the boy to do it.
He is rolling up his sleeves. He is ready to
So does Sneed. This country needs some
jump in
good
there
old-fashioned hard work. We need to build bridges, infrastructures. People are going to think I'm mocking the election system. I'm not. But I do want to talk about that kind of stuff today.
Yeah.
Because that's what we want to do. I mean, you want to talk about stuff that's like a little bit, you know, topical.
Controversial?
And not controversial. I mean, I guess so. Because
it is a little bit.
Well, listen to this. Things are
maybe we should start
the things that are controversial are the most important because they're the things that matter, right? And that's why they're controversial because there is so much at stake. Or it's a controversy
between does this really matter or doesn't it?
Well, I think if you think about the most controversial, dang it, I'm not a very good word sayer, I decided just now.
I think you are, babe.
Controversial. If you're to say
your word saying.
The most, in history of our species, what is the very most controversial topic?
Religion.
Yeah, right? And why?
Because it's important, maybe?
Because
or maybe people
there's
don't
the
think
most at stake. There's the most at stake.
The most at stake. That's a good point.
We die. That's the one thing that none of us have been able to figure out.
To fix.
We don't know how. We're all for the last...
where we're going?
We died. The death thing. That thing that happens that we're all like...
Well, we know how we died, but...
No, I'm just saying, like, none of us have been able to overcome it, or, like, we're just like, how do you... Like, that's the religion thing. That's like, there's so much at stake, right? Like, you want to be right. You want to be safe. You want to be happy. You want to be protected. And that's where it's like, let's all align then. We all want... the same thing.
Things.
We all want to live on and be okay and cool together after this death thing.
Guys, we cool.
That's what everybody wants, right? So like, why are we fighting about the details? It's important, right? Doctrine's important, right? There must be a right way, I guess, but let's suspend the argument until we truly find it, and we haven't. And I think that's why controversial topics are good to talk about, because they're the things that matter the most, because the most is at stake.
Maybe things that don't have a yes or no answer, really.
For sure. That's the presidential election. Like, how do we best run our country? Like, how do we best run this group of people? We're a herd, right? Like, we have sectioned ourselves off. Listen, in 2028, I'm taking down all the borders. There's no borders. Everybody's everybody.
Are we talking about...
It's like internet land. Like, there's no Texas and Idaho and Utah. It's like, you live on that brown mountain. Hey.
Shay.
Is that weird? What if we did that?
Well, yeah, then how do you find yourself on a map?
Uber just takes you everywhere. Duh.
But what about addresses? How does somebody send you...
You won't need addresses. It's just GPS coordinates. It's longitude and latitude.
No, you need an address.
Shoot. I can't be drinking this on the podcast. I have a Diet Coke. I'm ashamed.
I'm ashamed. Well, he got me this,
Danny,
but I haven't drank it yet.
I need water. Will you give me a water?
Because, like, what's so wrong with shame? Just drink it.
I don't want to promote Coca-Cola. I think it's bad for your body.
Yet.
I don't think it's good for you.
It is so delicious.
So am I, like, is
So
that the
wait, you're
definition of
starting-
sin then? I'm doing something that I think is morally objectionable to the physical stature of my mortality, but it tastes good. Is that the definition of a sin? Doing something that you know is going to kind of hurt you,
But you do it
but
anyway?
you do it anyways? Like, I guess is the...
I don't know that there's a definition of a sin.
I think about this. That is very selfish because it tastes good now, but I know long-term effects on my body is not good. So it's a selfish act to put something in your body when you know it's not good for you.
Right.
Physically.
But is it only selfish if you do it on
Drink water.
Is it only selfish if you do it on camera?
Only if you get
It's a good
caught.
question. Because if you're not hurting anybody else but yourself.
Anyways, we're just raising a lot of what ifs. We don't know
I
what we're
don't
doing
know.
here. We're just
I
talking
feel like
about
this,
stuff.
like, whoa.
No, I do have a theme. I want to have a direction that I want to go to. I do want to talk about Kanye West, and I want to talk about the presidential election, not just because it's topical, but I think there is a lot of value to be learned from Mr. West and Donald Trump and guys like this that are very
So
blatant.
maybe you should tell them in case they didn't watch or they don't know.
Okay, so if you missed out the VMAs, the Video Music Awards, hosted by MTV, Miley Cyrus was the host. I don't know what annual VMAs this was, 30th or whatever. Anyway,
I don't
so
know either.
it was the other night, and Kanye West won a Video Vanguard Award, which is an award. All awards are just dumb, created, made-up awards, right? Like every award that we've like, let's like the Streamies. We're going to the Streamies pretty soon. Like here we are making fun of the VMAs, and we're like, I can't wait to go to the
Award
Streamies.
shows.
We just make up things to give to each other. Like you're good. Here's
exciting.
some gold on
you
some wood.
You should have congratulations for things that you do well.
That's
I
true.
think that's good. Recognition
Right.
helps
No,
build character.
I think it motivates people
and
because every time
happiness.
I leave, I guarantee you,
Motivation.
people at the VMAs when they left that building, they wanted to create.
They
more.
were ready.
They're ready to go out and make
create
stuff.
more.
And I
Yeah.
think that's my message today. That is the most valuable. I don't know. I think for me, I'm not going to say this is the best thing for everybody. For me, I have recently discovered that I find the most value in creating new things, thinking of new ideas or new ways to approach the status quo, right? Like I get easily tired of like red tape stuff. Like that's why I hated school. I was like, I can already tell I'm not going to use any of this. Right now I know that. Like why I'm not going to listen. I don't want to follow the rules just to waste my time. So I want to create things, right? Like it's okay, hold on. I'm getting off on a tangent. I don't mean to do that. School is good.
So school is good. You graduated from high school.
I'm externalizing my internal thoughts. Yes,
learned
I did
a
a little bit
lot.
of college.
I
Education
think you
is the
need to
best
have
thing.
a good
Yes.
basic education.
But what I want to encourage is just creating new things. Like I was listening to the Rhett and Link Ear Biscuit podcast recently with Charles Trippy, and they were just talking about how incredible it is that he has vlogged his life every single day for 7 years, even through a malignant brain tumor that was taken out of his head while he was awake. They sawed open his skull, pulled back the little piece where they cut open, reached in with some tweezers and pulled out a tumor that was like bigger than a golf ball while he was awake. And he was filming it with his camera. And it's like, Rhett said the most funny thing. He goes, I think if there's like a list of excuses of why you can miss a daily vlog,
Yeah.
that might be
one of them.
That's right there on the top, I think, actually.
But you know, I also see why he would want to document that.
Right. So here's where this is all going. Is like thinking of something crazy, something new, like vlogging your life every day. Charles has done it every day through a divorce, through brain surgery, all these things. He's gotten 2 Guinness World Records. He's a bass player of this rock and roll band called Wtkgts, and all these crazy things happened because he imagined it. He said, I'm going to do something new, something that's not status quo, something that's out of the ordinary of get a good job, get in the line, and, you know, the Henry Ford kind of like, just like doing something different in a different way. I find so much value in that. And that's why I like people like Kanye West, because he encourages that. He makes things, just like creative things. And I think that's very valuable to have. And there's music and video, but all different types of things, just different ideas, new technologies. I just tweeted about this new algae blood clotting stuff that this 17-year-old kid invented or found, not invented, he discovered the information because the knowledge was always there. It just needed to be found, and he says he's tinkering around was the word, but he got this algae that can basically seal giant open wounds. Like you imagine like a giant knife just goes, cut my whole arm open. You go into the hospital, like you have to do a tourniquet, right? He has this stuff that you just put this just like that, seals up the whole thing. And it starts like rebuilding the skin, like magic movie stuff. Like what you would see on the X-Men, like regenerating his skin by using this algae that they've taken and they've made it into a paste.
That's cool.
A new idea, right? Like how dumb. Quit messing around with that algae, kid, and go to school and get a good education.
Here's what I think, though. I think that your education should help you create, because I think you need to be educated. I think it's important. But like after you get out of high school and you're going to college, sometimes you can get in a rut of like you have to do certain things to become this certain person or a certain job. But if you're not finding joy in that, like think of something that you love and that would make you feel alive to be able to create or be a part of.
Idea. I don't want to be misinterpreted about, like, it seems like every time we talk about school and education and stuff, I like say
just
it's
because
a bad thing. I feel like I had to get out of it, right? Like it's good to learn. Like obviously like knowledge is so paramount, but what I'm trying to say, I guess, when I'm acting that way, where I'm saying like, don't just like listen to your teachers, like beat dreamer, you know, what I'm trying to mean is like, don't get stuck in that rat race mentality. Like don't feel like you can't do things, I guess, because I feel like we get stuck in this pessimistic mind frame where you have your life was planned for you already. Like you go to school, right? Like you're supposed to, and then you do this like you're supposed to. And it's like, what if you don't want to go on that path, right? Like I think we need to encourage people to like try crazy things. Like I was telling you this, like when Kanye West said, I'm going to run for president in 2020, everybody's like, what an idiot. Like he can't do that. Or when it's like, even when you heard that Kanye West has his own clothing company, you're like, who does he think he is? Like he thinks he can just start his own clothing company. Like we have those feelings, right? Like those are like these feelings that come in us. It's like, why is that? Why can't you like think of something that you really want to do? And like, if you said it out loud to your friends, they'd all like, you can't, you want to be a singer now? Like, I love singing. I think it's so cool to sing and dance. I'm so jealous of people that can just like I watch Justin Bieber, you know, other than all of us other antics or whatever, like that kid is so good. I wish I could do that. And like, I think, well, what if I did? What if I did try to start doing that? What if I tried to start singing and dancing? Like, no, like people would make fun of me. Like, what, do you think you're going to be a dancer now?
Here's what I think. If you want to do something for yourself, like you should. But if you're wanting to do something because you want to prove something to somebody else, that's when it's like, you know what, maybe this isn't my path. Maybe this really isn't what I'm meant to do.
I heard this great, go ahead. Sorry.
I want to rewind a little bit because you were talking about, you know, going to school and stuff. I feel like when you, like, if you even want to go to school and become a heart surgeon, like, you have to get all that knowledge. You have to do that, but you can still, like, someone really close to me had a son that needed heart surgery, and it was a really scary thing. And this heart surgeon, he was up all night studying how to do it because he didn't know. He hadn't ever done it before, but he was brave enough to take the knowledge that he had learned and worked hard to get to create and, you know, do something amazing. I think that's what you need to do with like the knowledge that you've been given right now. Like, how can I apply this to do something even greater? You know? I
think get knowledge however you can and as fast as you can. And what I'm saying is I don't think the school system is the best way to do it anymore. I don't think it's the fastest and best way to gain knowledge. For instance, I got a root canal. I got this crown put on my tooth. I was like on one yesterday when I went to the dentist, and I was like, me and him were best friends. I know 60% how to do a crown now. Like, I had him show me. I'm like, show me. What are you looking at? A computer? Because I'm like so interested in technology and stuff. He had this CNC CAD machine that would like take this little block of ivory. Like they have this little block that it, like with diamond tools and water, it carves out a one-piece tooth that they can just pop in there that's really strong because they put it in a kiln. Like it's really soft at first, and then the diamond tips and the water bore out the tooth, and then they put it in this heat oven for like 20 minutes, and it like goes to like 25,000 degrees, and it makes it 100 times stronger, and then he just pops it on. And I went through the whole process with him. Like he showed me the computer, and then they send that imaging over to the CAD system. And like, I was like looking at my tooth like in between, and I'm like, this is a great way to learn about dentistry. Why don't we have a web series where it's like, you have dentists that are like, all right, guys, welcome today. It looks like we have a root canal on number 42 upper left. Let's get started. Here we go. You're joking. You're making a video. It's like, that's a great way to learn how to be a dentist. Like, you know, like getting in there and like see it. Like, why do you have to go to school? It's like, well, you have to take a biology test. I guess you have to have that base knowledge.
I mean, you have to have base knowledge, but there are definitely some
saying,
classes in school that maybe you don't ever use.
Here's what I'm saying.
But
go
they
to
help
school.
your brain. They help connect all your neurons and stuff. Like any knowledge is good.
Right. Go to traditional school until you find something that you love and that you're like, I'm good at this. Because I heard this great commencement speech at Columbia University the other day. I think I tweeted it, but he said, don't follow your passions. Don't follow what you're passionate about, because your passions change. You're passionate about something at 20 that you're not passionate about at 40. That's very true, right? Like you used to I remember that. Here's a great example.
Skiing.
Right. I'm not as passionate. Remember that girl I dated in Texas? What's her name? What was her name? Becca. She was so weirdly passionate about Africa.
Oh, really?
She wanted to move to Africa and like save Africa. And she said that her future husband had to want to move to Africa. And I'm like, well, it's nice going to the Cheesecake Factory with you, but I'm not moving to Africa. So like she was really passionate.
I'm so glad you didn't want to move to Africa.
About Africa. And I think I would love to meet her now 20 years later. I'm like, is she live in Africa? Like maybe she never even made it to Africa. Maybe she is, but maybe she didn't. But I'm just saying your passions change. So if she goes into all this Africa stuff and then all of a sudden 15 years later, she's like, I've never even been to Africa. Or maybe she goes and she's like, it's hot there. And there's lions. I'm not passionate about Africa anymore. And so it's like, if you put all this time and effort and career into your passion, that's going to change as your life changes. So what he said is just do what you're good at, because if you're good at it, then you're going to be successful. And if you're successful, it's great because everybody loves you and you're successful. And so that's what we need to go after, is what we're good at, not necessarily our passions. And so we need to be able to willing to like figure out what that is, you know. And I think
what if you're really good at something that you hate because you grew up doing it just because it was your family thing, but now you hate it, but you're good at it, so you just keep doing it. I don't know that I don't totally agree with that.
Well, I'll have to read that speech
I think
again,
that there are certain...
Because when he gave it, it made a lot of sense. I'll have to re-listen to it.
But you know what I mean?
Like, contradict the
like
argument.
I'm a really good potato sorter. Well, I can really sort potatoes.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
do I want to do that?
No, obviously. You know like, you got to pick and choose it. Like, what you want to pick something that you're good at that can change the world.
That you don't hate, that you love.
Right.
And I think that sometimes when you're passionate about something, you can become good at it.
Right. And that's, I guess, the ultimate thing that happens is if you start doing something you love and then you have to do it, then all of a sudden it becomes something you hate because it's not something you love to do anymore. It's like it becomes your job. That kind of has happened with us a little bit, I think, with the... Anyways.
No, we don't hate. I don't like the way you said that.
Right. I don't even know what I was saying because I was looking at Rocket League on the board there. What I want to say is, this is a disclaimer. We're just thinking out loud here. That's why we are in this podcast, to have a conversation, to think out loud. And we don't necessarily 100% mean, I think, everything we say, because I think we need to have a forgiving atmosphere that we can say things, be like, well, I don't know. You're right. I don't know if I think that actually. Right? Like this back and forth, this give and take where it's like, I want to say things that are in my mind and not be so quickly judged for them, right? And then if they're wrong, I'll be like, okay, well, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe that isn't wrong. Like, how can I approach that differently? So I think that's the goal of this podcast, which is a sentiment that I think Jenna Marbles was talking about very recently. I saw her tweet because, you know, Conway Twitty. He got a lot of, you know, crap for his 25-minute VMA thing.
Well, you know, I'm not going to lie. It made me nervous. I don't know why. Like, he was standing up there and I'm like, when's he going to talk? What's he doing? What's he thinking? What's happening right now? Like, it was a little unnerving, but I think that he was very bold and he was passionate about what he said, and that's good.
She said,
and it was his time to shine. He got the award.
Jenna said, she tweeted, I'm currently writing a Kanye dissertation for a follow-up to the podcast and the importance of people using unfiltered voices.
Right.
I want to know. I want to follow up and see what that is about, because I think there's a lot of value to that. Because I experienced this thing as a kid where I would watch like adults speak in official adult settings, and it seemed very official and dry and like, this is not a fun way to talk, right? The way that they interacted when I would like maybe go with, if you like went to work with your dad, right? Like back in the day, and you watch him talk, and you're like, why is it so like stiff, right? And you're like, that's why parents suck and they're boring. It's like lame. And then like maybe your dad's hanging out on the weekend, then he's fun and he's talking in a different way, and you're like, well, why don't you talk like that when you're with those other people, right? Like you should be able to talk the exact same way in front of your grandma as you do your buddies that you hang out on the weekend, right? Like
I agree with that.
You need to be able to be a person that's like, you need to be who you are, right? I guess.
And if you're not comfortable doing that, then maybe you need to think about it.
You change your speech level a little bit for kids and stuff like that, but I'll get cussing every once in a while because it's just a word at the end of the day, and it evokes emotion. It's like sometimes a good bullshit just is the best word, right?
It makes me
It's
laugh.
like somebody says something, you're like, that's bullshit. Like that's a powerful thing.
It's not really that powerful.
It conveys a specific feeling that I have. I'm not trying to like be crass, but it's like, that is like cow poop, gross. That is not, ugh.
You're so
Same
cute.
thing. What were we talking about?
I don't know. I think you're cute all of a sudden because you.
What do you want to kiss me?
You bull crap.
Well, you got me all flustered and sidetracked in your new blue stripy shirt.
You like it?
That's pretty. So, Jenna Marbles, I am excited to hear what your thoughts are on unfiltered speech. Here's where I was going. God, you keep pulling me off with your pretty eyes, lady. Talk how you talk, right? Like, it's okay to talk that way. Like, when we hear Kanye West, and you're like, he's not smart enough to be president. The dude is on stage in front of the entire world for 25 minutes, and nobody interrupted him. Nobody. He's doing something right. Like, you got to give the dude some credit, right? He's got a ton of cash, a gorgeous wife that has huge.
There is sometimes when you should filter what you say.
But tell me what the kids said. The only reason I said it is because we were watching it with the kids.
And the kids are like.
And everybody, even Gavin.
Whoa.
They cut to Kim Kardashian and Gavin goes, oh, like he like seriously. And I saw Avi and she like looked over at me like, those are a large pair of breasts, kids. That's what they look like. That's what they look like. So maybe we shouldn't have let them watch the VMAs.
Well,
we did. We just watched a small portion. We did. Actually, the kids were there for the entire Kanye speech.
Yeah.
Which I was glad for, right? It's like, be willing to live on purpose and to try things that everybody think is crazy. Because why the hell not? What else are you going to do? You're going to die. That's what you're going to do. And then you're going to be like, well, I just did what everybody else did and I died like everybody else. So try something different, say something different, think a different way.
And I think you still need to be.
Don't be stupid. Don't be mean.
Don't be stupid. Yeah.
Don't be
crass.
Respectful. I'm not saying like be who you are. Don't be
a jerk.
All those things that you know in your heart that you're not supposed to be, right? Like it's like that goes without saying. Don't be a jerk. Don't be an evil person. Like think about it. Don't hurt other people. Like
be bold. Yeah. Don't be afraid to live and to be who you truly want to be.
And be
inside.
Introspective. Be willing to say, hey, self, like listen, what you just said right there.
Be willing to be molded.
Was dumb. Like you have to be able to be willing to be like, that I know, come on, stop. Have those conversations. Be your own devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Try to figure it out. We're all trying to figure it out, eh? All right, that's podcast, I guess. Anything else? Thanks to our sponsor.
That was crazy. Talked about a lot.
Thanks to our sponsor. Who's our sponsor? I couldn't think of anything witty.
Diet Coke.
No!
Cheers.
Thanks to the poison that is slowly killing us. That is so delicious.
Sponsored by... I don't know. I can't think of anything witty. You were talking so much. You had so many good things. And I was like this.
We went on a lot of tangents. All right. Thanks for joining us. This has been episode 142. Do not forget to download it off of the internet. Suck it into your device on iTunes so that you can listen to it on the go wherever you are in the world. Yes. Or watch it on YouTube. That's fun too because we have faces you can look at. All right. See you next time.
Bye.
Go.
What the heck? Just you and I talk about our
I burst out with emotion. I burst out with emotion. Oh, so much emotion.